Thank you, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, good to see you.
Same here, man.
Right out there. Everybody doing good?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to call to order the in-person and virtual workshop meeting scheduled for today, May 6th at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you be kind enough to call the roll for us today?
Councilmember Duffy. Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Manica.
Here.
Council Pro Tem Robinson.
Present.
Council President Thomas.
Here, thank you very much. So today's workshop is scheduled in conjunction with the Community and Economic Development Department. We have Director Clyburn here who will walk us through the agenda items that we have set aside. Director Clyburn, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you. Welcome, residents and council. Great to see you today. We have 3 items today. One will be a pilot request from MHT. Next is a library sustainability discussion with HPUDI. And last is the zoning ordinance update discussion that was removed from the last agenda. Okay, so we go to item number 1 is the pilot request from MHT. So a month or 2 ago, MHT approached the city and they have some exciting news, but with the exciting news came a request for a pilot. So we've met a few times.
Could you, for the people at home who are not familiar with MHT, if you could fill out the acronym for them?
Program in lieu of taxes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So Mr. Van Fox from MHT is here today, so he'll be giving a presentation. It'll be in your binder, the one binder that was passed out. So, Mr. Fox.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Van Fox. I'm also here with a teammate, Miss Joy Flood. Friends, I have been in the city of Highland Park since 1988. No stranger. Please know and recognize we've always been fully compliant, whether it's with rental registration, with the building departments. We have always been an incredible partner with the city of Highland Park. As owner, developer, manager of the Gabrielle Benjamin Glendale Buena Vista Highland Manor, our organization is entering into partnership with the Highland Park Housing Commission. The Highland Park Housing Commission, in partnership with Team HUD, has been recognized working with MISHDA, the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, a new transaction to recognize a continuation with full certainty to maintain full affordability for the 160 units of substantial redevelopment of the Highland Park Housing Commission portfolio. Please recognize that there are 198 total units. However, there are 40 units slated for demolition, fully recognizing what would be demoed, which is existing, which is vacant, that we will be entering into coordination with the city for appropriate replacement housing working with the appropriate officials here at City Hall for that future location, which we will be paralleling after we submit for our final package to MISTA. MISTA is in process of underwriting and finalizing our complete scope of work, our complete financial package, recognizing that this material here, knowing that today is a workshop, knowing that we're happy to have a continuation of workshop meetings, whether it's here at City Hall or other, to go through all of the exhibits that are presented here this evening. Please recognize this is just a workshop. I'm not here to bulldog or to recognize that there can certainly be happily a continuation of gathering. Please recognize that currently today there is about $8 million of appropriate renovations that are being spent today physically. And then there will be an additional $8 million spent at the property level. Therefore, everybody will have the appropriate same, where it's kitchens, bathrooms, flooring, roofing, and recognizing that there will be a 20-year pro forma to maintain that certainty, continuity for the replacement reserve. We have put together the appropriate pro forma and underwriting to the Attorney General's liking, the MISTA liking, along with the investor Richmond Group is coming to the table, similar to our other developments, to recognize that we are all sharing same pro forma, that we're all sharing same numbers and expectations. Our existing property, the Highland Park Housing Commission, has not paid taxes since the inception of the Housing Commission, recognizing now that we will minimally start out at $89,000 per year, and that would include paying all water, sewer, stormwater, that we would be having the full compliance rental registration, that our operating numbers are all being checked and balanced. We've given that exact same transparency to you as we have to the AG's office, to the MISTA personnel, recognizing that what's been given to one has been given to all for the transparency. The proposed pilot payment in lieu of tax is no different than what we've had and have achieved successfully in past at our other Highland Park developments. This pilot that's being put in front of us here today for discussion purposes is identical throughout the state of Michigan, that is identified to be same regardless of what community. Friends, we're looking at partnership with the Highland Park, posting 100% of the guarantees. We are managing the ownership appropriately. We recognize that this development will be maintaining everybody in place, that there will be a no removal, that we will have the same income verification. Our residents who we manage, who live with us, their incomes are at or below $13,000 on average per year, regardless whether if it's family or senior. That's what we're doing. And we're going to be able to manage best practices around our seniors and our families who are living with us. If there ever would like to be a tour of our new constructions, our renovations, within a 6-mile radius, we probably have close to 2,000 units identical to what is being proposed here for the Housing Commission. So in your binder, please recognize what has been proposed to you is the request, the calculation, the draft, the location and map and legal description of the locations, the organizational documentation, the trade payment breakdown. The trade payment breakdown, I need to show dollar for dollar where this goes, knowing that this is Davis-Bacon prevailing wage for all of the appropriate capital improvements, which coincidentally is no different than the $8 million that we are under renovation for right now. There will be substantial upgrades from energy efficiencies to fire panel to smoke detectors, carbon monoxide. Everything will be to the enterprise green standard. There's also the resume of MHT, the management company profile, the same pro forma that the loan committee and that the board of MISTA is approving, the site control and the finance letters. Friends, I know that there is approximately 70 pages in here, knowing that some pages are front and back. It's not exactly easy material, but we recognize that working as one, we're happy to have a second, third, fourth meeting. So therefore, there's the same transparency, the same communication. And I just thank you for this opportunity, and we're excited to be back here with Highland Park as we've been here since 1988, 1989, 30 plus years, and we're going to have a continuation of another 30 years. Friends, can I answer any questions?
I have one question. Can you help me work on my pro forma?
Yes, let's work on pro forma.
No, I really appreciate it. Takes, and thank you for pointing out the fact that this is a nutrient dense document, but members are trying to make sure that their competency levels are up to understand much of this. And at least for me in the past couple of years, learning to read a pro forma and learning the process that goes into demolition and construction and all of the contingencies, having all of your people lined up, putting together a capital stack. It's useful to know that you're trying to share this information with our average citizen. I think a median income is $30,000 a year. We're probably at what, 15-20% of AMI in your location?
Correct.
Yeah, so I can appreciate the fact that while there are a lot of cranes moving downtown, that you're focused on families and making a way for those families to be able to still live in a community like this. When I say like this, I mean 15 minutes from a major downtown area. If this was Chicago, if this was any other city, it would be virtually impossible for the residents of Highland Park to live here without affordable housing. So the fact that your organization is really trying to ensure that that resource, and housing is a resource, to make sure that resource is still here and plentiful, I can honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I can appreciate the fact that you're trying to preserve the community as it is, even as we move forward. We know we need to have new residents here, and we're hoping to get residents of all income spectrums. But the fact that you're protecting the homesteads, if you will, the people who live in here, by making sure that they have affordable housing, I can really appreciate that. So thank you for going the extra mile to make sure that you provided us with this document, and we probably will need additional workshops to explain it. I won't make any assumptions about what everyone knows, but I can just tell you based on what I've seen here, I can appreciate what you've done, and it seems a very thorough package put together. Mr. Al-Shafi.
So first of all, allow me to quickly say, I'm hoping that I am smart enough, as Council President has just said, to grasp this. But a few quick questions. Are you Continental or the Housing Commission?
Right now, I am our team is the acting director of the Highland Park Housing Commission, and I also represent Continental Management.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because to my understanding, didn't HUD turn over all this property, well, the scatter sites to Continental?
To manage.
To manage, not to own.
Correct.
Okay. Because I've been getting a lot of phone calls about people under the new management who have been sitting in their homes for 15 or 20 years and have been asked to move. Quite a few residents of Highland Park who were tenants of yours have been forced to move outside of the city because they were told that they no longer qualified for the home in which they had been sitting in for the last 15 or 20 years. So if you could, I know I came in here late, if you could just give me a brief overlay of exactly what this is about, because this is a lot to read at one time, you know what I'm saying? It would have been nice if we got it in a timely fashion, but that's just not how the city works. everything is last minute. So if you could give me a brief overlay of this.
Absolutely. And again, happy to meet at any time.
Okay.
So again, with full transparency, our organization, Continental, came in to manage. We recognize that there has been no substantial improvement, renovations, funding for the day-to-day management. We recognize that the facilities, the interiors, exteriors are below par, below what would be expected. Our organization is not displacing any resident. Okay, and I can certify that both at the federal and the state level, knowing that if there is any relocation because the facility for environmental or structural, we have appropriately managed best practices to temporarily relocate to equal or greater. And I can demonstrate that throughout the portfolio of the Highland Park Housing Commission. We fully recognize that whatever is vacant or whatever is proposed to be demolition, we are going to do a future new construction while we recognize anyone who is living and who is in place. If there is demolition, they will be appropriately replaced within Highland Park with equal or greater new. So you might be getting some communication, and I wish they would contact me directly. We have monthly meetings for the past 24 months, cooling everybody from elevators to roof leaks, to appliances, cabinets, to ADA proper management, to illegal dumping, to, hey, my next door neighbor. We have everybody appropriately under compliance review, so everybody knows their neighbor. Everybody is appropriately housed. So there's not 3 people in a 1-bedroom. We will put them on the wait list to move them to a 2-bedroom. And I don't believe today we have anybody over qualified living with us. And I would love to, after this meeting, set up time or at any time for you to reach out and start going unit by unit, resident by resident. 1, to give a tour, to show you the 8 million that's underway right now. And 2, the additional 8 million that we're putting into substantial improvements. And then to talk about the new 20-year pro forma of how much we're putting into the initial replacement reserve. We're going to be putting into the initial replacement reserve, starting with over like 500,000 into the initial and then compounding. So, sir, I would love to get together and talk facts and stats.
Okay, so couple more questions. Has the Housing Commission board been reconstituted?
It has, and it is getting put back together.
Okay,
The mayor is going to be reappointing new members under this new re-syndication, this new transaction that is a requirement. Yes.
okay. So I want to quickly say, understand that I am a very big critic of the Housing Commission. I've been here a long time. I watched it for a long time.
Okay.
It has not been a pretty picture, you know, and if it wasn't for the fact that so many residents of Highland Park are dependent on the Housing Commission, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for them, I would be willing to wipe my hands completely of the Housing Commission and get it out of the city. Okay? Because I've seen a lot of bad things happen. I know you're new management and I hope you do better. Your scatter sites, I can pick them out from anywhere.
Right.
They need to be boarded up. They need to be secured. Vacant houses, homeless people running in and out of them, drug usage, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, I want you to understand that I'm willing to listen to you and work with you, but I'm a big opponent of the Housing Commission. It needs to do better.
I want a bulldog.
Yeah.
And I want you. So 1, I can give you a tour for what we've owned for 35 years, both in the city from the city to Traverse City, and you'll recognize the colors, the continuity, the facilities, the passing REAC, Inspire scores, the income qualifications, the best practices. I would love to get into a car and show you all the facts and stats with 100% transparency, so you can see how bad it really was.
Mhm.
Knowing
Oh,
that
I
you just, no, let me show you what it's like and
It's
what's
more than
going
what
to
I
be
know.
demoed
Okay.
and what's going to then be replaced. Because working with the city on the replacement, that might be on Hamilton. Hey, it'd be great if you sold me California, but can be throughout the city. And we know that once I give you a tour of ours, with what we're building up and down, whether it's with Bishop Ellis, Reverend Dr. Holly, whether it's with the Archdiocese, you'll recognize our sites. The same qualifications that we demo will be given to what we're building today. And I would love to bring a bulldog tude so you can just feel that peace and ease. So you know you're leaving an incredible legacy. And I would like that. I'm going to challenge you to that.
Okay.
I saw your
Thank you.
hand, Ms. Manica.
Okay, so will this council be kept well informed as to what's happening with the housing commission? Would it be like any monthly or yearly statements
Oh my gosh,
or
dude,
information for us to be given?
audits,
Mhm.
which as I've always provided you for the last 35 years
Mhm.
on time. There will be qualifications for the mayor's appointees to the housing commission. Yes, there are weekly, monthly, quarterly, all certified. And with you being my bulldog, I would welcome that. So therefore you can recognize all of the communication that the housing commission board members that the mayor appoints. You will see what they get, because again, they're going to be coming into a huge financial cash position. And this is going to be an incredible partnership for the housing commission to start paying back, reinvesting back into certain elements of the city. And that's where the coordination with City Hall, the housing commission has to be recognized with qualified appointees.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna
I'll
move
say-
on to Ms.
hold on a
Manica.
second,
Mr.
hold on a
Ashafi,
second.
Ms.
I
Manica's been
was just
waiting
about to
patiently.
say, I was just about to say, I just want to make one correction and I'll turn it over to Ms. Manica. It's true, the mayor does appoint, but this council must approve.
You got it.
Okay, so that's just the difference there. You know, you mentioned that the mayor appoints, the mayor does appoint, the charter says the mayor appoints, the council must approve.
That's even better
Okay.
because they
All right.
more
Ms.
qualification of approval. Thank you.
I
Yes, ma'am.
totally agree that this is a lot, and so I think we need just a sole workshop, just with you, not the other entities that we have today, because it's a lot to cover. But I did have a couple of quick questions. You kept mentioning a 20-year performer.
It shows 15,
It
correct.
shows 15, so is that?
That is for the initial compliance period, but there will be in our workshop a regulatory agreement for perpetuity for affordability. And so we'll be able to expand on that perpetuity for affordability, because young lady will be getting a 20-year initial housing payment contract for 20 years at closing, knowing that there will be a continuation, knowing that there will be a new 40-year mortgage with Mishta. There will be bonds, there will be private equity, there will be owner equity. And to have that workshop to go through all this, I would love it. I just love numbers. If there's donuts, we're doing it early. Otherwise, at night, we're doing drinks, okay, and having some fun. Great, yes.
MHT.
Yes, ma'am, that's me. It was gonna be Michigan Housing Trust. Some guy wanted $5,000 for the name because he owned the rights, and I told him to pound sand.
So it's Michigan, what?
It's just MHT Housing. No, it's not an acronym.
It's just MHT out.
Correct. We house about 30,000 people in Michigan and thousands outside of state. We've never had a foreclosure, a deed in lieu, We have never renegotiated the limited partnership. We have never renegotiated our loan documents. So to have a work session, wow, would that be groovy? Thank you.
So if I heard correctly, you're merging, or maybe not merging, but partnering with who? Give me those people.
With the Highland Park Housing Commission, with MISTA, and then we'll have a limited investor who's going to be purchasing our tax credits. And so our organization is going to completely manage 100% of the guarantees, because the Housing Commission does not have the real estate owned schedule. It does not have the balance sheet. It does not have the needed exhibits for the financial backing. So we are going to 100% guarantee, and we're going to be doing this in partnership with the Housing Commission. And then the Housing Commission, I'd love to get further into the financials with the team. They all of a sudden are going to have $1 million plus ongoing cash flow. And this is where, you know, the Highland Park City team needs to know, because so much can be done with that for other housing, for other areas outside of the Housing Commission, whether it's workshops and other. Man, would I dig it to get into it.
My last question. So I looked at page, I'm assuming it's maybe page 3, I'm not sure, but it's the pilot, the first page with the list of locations.
Yes, ma'am.
So I went to, tell me where your office at first. Let me start here. Where would
Okay.
I go to talk to you?
You would go to Downs Manor.
Okay, so I went to Downs Manor
Yes, ma'am.
and I went more than once. And every time I asked to speak to someone, it was like Fort Knox, or I was trying to get to see the president. All I wanted to do was have an event or use the community for someone to call me back. So who should I be speaking to for things like that?
Page 1, the introduction shows T. Van Fox. Yes, we are the president. Yes, it doesn't show president, and it has our number and our email address.
So that's, and I see a young lady raise her hand out here. Is that
Yes.
who I should speak to?
You can speak to Ms. Flood as well, but clearly, we will happily, when we get together, further manage your expectations.
Okay, and those properties that's part of my question, I seen on the board there, that what you've already started, right? It's a board that's got different locations.
Correct.
So like on Hamilton, you put in a new parking lot.
Parking lot, entry doors, energy efficiencies. We're able to get an early start on some grants and some capital dollars that we're investing now to then get everybody prepped for what's going to come later. We took care of a lot of the health and safety items, trip and fall, fire and flood. And now we're getting ready for a lot of cosmetic improvements, from bathtubs to cabinetry to security systems. So yes, there's a detail, always maintaining communication with our clients.
So I'd like for you to make sure that we set up another workshop for a complete thing, so that you can really talk to us and we won't have to worry about.
Love
going
it.
to our next item. And then we make sure that you're also, I don't know if that's included, getting all the permits and things that are needed for you to do what you're doing.
Absolutely. Again, being Davis-Bacon prevailing wage, I've never once been fined in that arena. I've always appropriately exceeded, which is irregular of a contractor. We will be pulling all of the appropriate, management, because again, there will be some structural, there will be mechanical, there will be electrical, there will be fire panel, and all of that will be managed in this upcoming additional 8 million renovation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stop you right there. We're gonna move on to because I'm gonna be in contact with Director Clyburn and looking at my travel schedule to try to get you back in June for something a little bit more detailed. I have a different schedule. I'll be able to give you an hour and a half in June so we can actually get into the numbers.
Super.
Okay, one question for you, Director Clyburn. Can you tell me what happened to the Housing Commission? Why was our if you know, what happened to our Housing Commission in the past? It was taken from the city, right? It was pretty much shut down. Is it a mismanagement issue?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for stepping in for that. I really appreciate it. And I thank you for your time, and we will see you again soon, sir.
Thank
very
you.
much.
And I am going to, just for again, the transparency, just ask for a letter from City Hall, just so I can show Mishta the date of presentation and a continuation of the workshop, just so they can see, so we can start to move on the bonds. Because we have to
Absolutely.
take
I
down
get it.
bonds, and you can only imagine the 10-year treasury today, heavens to Betsy.
Yeah.
4.5%. We're inverted, and we want to buy and lock down our bonds of nearly 18 million.
Yeah, you want to do that before the next 90 days. So yeah.
Yes,
You want to do it before the next 90 days. Thank
and
you so
before
much.
the election.
Yeah, I know.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yes,
Anybody
all
have
right.
your instruments
Thank
before
you, and thank you to the residents, the citizens, and appreciate you all.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Director
So-
Clyburn?
So we know it's a lot of information, right? But we're having these meetings and we want to get it in front of the council as soon as possible. So the reason why you're getting information now, we're not looking for any action. We're looking for discussion. You know,
Gotcha.
we're in the room with different developers, different things happening. And the sooner that we get it in front of you, the better. So I know coming like this is a bit much with all the information, but it's a reason because we're looking to keep and continue. So that being said, we're gonna go to item number 2, which is the library sustainability discussion with HPUDI. And again, we just give you the information. We're not looking for any action. We're gonna look for continued meetings. But I wanted to get in front of the council as soon as possible so you can get the information. You can start reviewing it. The next workshop, you have more, you know, the presentation will be tonight because we want to move forward, transparent, get your input in, get the residents, you know, because they're going to be calling before we do any public hearings or anything like that. So a lot of these concerns can be addressed before we get deep into it. Like I stopped the meetings, like this is the end for the meeting. With next step is going in front of council. Because there's still things that the city needs to work out with the different entities, but I wanted to make sure that it's at least introduced to you. So this is an introduction.
Okay.
Yep. So next, with that being said, the library sustainability discussion, we have HPUDI, Ms. Harriet. You know, they have been, you know, working with the last administration that, you know, just unofficially just talk and talk. So now we want to make it more official. So they're gonna present, you have this information. Again, we want to come back with another workshop to go further into discussion before we get into MOUs and proposals and things like that. We want to make sure that you're fully aware of what's going on, some of the findings through the grants. I mean, there's been architects working on this for 20 years as part of the team. The grant that we got last year that the engineers looked at this, some numbers with, all of this stuff is included. They did deep community engagement to get feedback from the community. So all of this is going in. Now we're in front of you to start the discussion on how we move it forward. So.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, I'm Harriet Strickland with HPUDI. I'm the co-executive director there. Douglas Hawley is actually the founder, and he is a resident here in Highland Park. He brought me on to this project several years ago where we have had many discussions with the city. And finally, we're in front of the city council to talk more about it. The Redstone Architect is a architectural firm that has started a study back in November 30th of 2000. It was called the Executive Summary. They did an in-depth executive summary of the library, the history of the library, what it would cost to bring the library back to code, which again, that was in 2024 years ago. HPUDI came in and we did some actual hands-on where we got reports so far as environmental studies, as well as some engineering studies for an analysis and a feasibility study. What HPUDI is asking for initially is a public-private partnership. We've already done a lot of work that didn't really require it, but something to bring to the table to let you know that we're serious. We've done our homework, we've done some research, we've identified some resources to start the first phase of the restoration of the library. The restoration will take several years, but that is including the windows, structural restoration that's needed to bring the library to the phase of actually developing the interior of the library. We visualize this project being about a 10-year project from start to finish, from phase one, restoration, engineering, retrofitting, as well as some mitigation, environmental mitigation, to the next step of redeveloping the interior, to bringing in the interior. So there's about 4 or 5 different phases that we'd have to go to. By the time we get to the 4th phase, it will be operational and will continue to service the library in the sense of being able to provide services to the city, but we still have more restoration to go. It's a lot to kind of bring you up to date, but I'm assuming that a lot of these people here are from Highland Park today. What I've seen coming into Highland Park is a beautiful building, no services, a deteriorating building. So your citizens have to go to Detroit or Ferndale, outside of the city, to be able to get resources that you should have in the city. We visualize the library to not only be a library where you come to study, but also an entertainment center, a performing arts center. You have a beautiful auditorium at the top. That's a revenue-driven center that would help maintain the library. There's also retail space that we envision being retail space. And the retail space, what that looks like is a small coffee shop. And that's an opportunity for a small business in the city to work in that or operate that coffee shop. We're looking at the library as being a total resource to the city. Social services, literacy programs, training programs, work study programs, a small museum at the bottom. Just a full source, more than what you see in other libraries. I've talked to library directors in Flint, most recently in Tacoma. I'm studying other libraries that have also that has public partnership agreements in place. And what that looks like when I speak of the private partnership, that's HPUDI partnering with the city to bring in resources to maintain the library. We're not library operators. We're not, that's not what we're asking for. We're asking to work with the city to identify funds, to identify resources, to continue to work with the city to make sure that library stays maintained and open. And what we've done, I don't know if you have a full packet in front of you, but if you turn to page 6. It's not just an HPUDI. You can look at us as coordinators. We go out and look for partners as well that have expertise in not only the library, but mitigation for the environmental study and other partners throughout the city and stakeholders. So we have Daniel Redstone, who is the senior architect for the community design advisor for the library. He has put together an intense budget for the restoration of the library, which is $30 million. That sounds big, but that's not a number that's not doable. I'm used to raising that much money and much more for projects.
Sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. What was the price tag of that again? I'm sorry.
30
I was
million.
reading this. I'm sorry.
$30 million.
Okay.
It's written in here also on page 5, I think. We have stakeholders from Wayne Metro Community Action Agency. We have Suzanne Fisher from, she was actually the director of the museum, the state director for the museums in Michigan, and she's gone on to be a consultant. She's exited that role, but now she's a consultant. We've brought her on as a consultant because she has not only good partnerships with the museums, but she has good partnerships with the library system as well. We have Mark Green, an abatement contractor with Detroit Next. He has performed a study, and he's sitting here today as well. We have Christine Hexamer. She's with the architectural department at the University of Detroit Mercy. Her group was very instrumental in helping us put together the What We Heard. That was the first community inclusion feasibility study that we performed over the past year and a half. And you have a copy of that. We have Dominic Romano, who is with MEDC. Now, MEDC, they usually invest in projects that will bring money back. But after so much conversation with him and the love that people have with Highland Park and wanting to bring the library back, they're on board as well. We're continuing to reach out to stakeholders and those who are interested and investors and it would not really be investors, but donators to bring this project to life on each phase. I can go on, but I'll open the floor for questions.
Yeah, I'm excited. When I saw Christina and Dominic on here, I was like, okay, it's on. I know both of them.
Oh, good. Very
Both
good.
of them on separate projects, and I know the work that Christina's done at UAD is amazing.
I'm happy to hear
and
that.
Dominic, true to form, is exactly the person you described in that. So this is a great team of people that I'm looking at. Many names I'm familiar with. And I'm excited.
Great.
I'm
I'm
excited.
glad to
Mr.
hear that.
Ashok?
Have you had an opportunity to go inside of the library and
Yes.
assess the
Yes.
situation?
Yes, we went in the library. I think it's been over 3 years ago.
Okay,
Now, we'd have to go back in,
Okay.
not necessarily me, but those who are going to lay hands on the library
Okay.
to, like Mark Green and those who actually do physical work, they'd have to go in and do a more current assessment.
did you have to mask up and suit up?
Yes, we did. And we had to boot up.
Who accompanied you?
The director of Public Works at the time.
Okay, the Director of Public Works, because Councilwoman Martin has been trying to get inside to take a look at the library herself, but she's being told that that the director and them, that they don't want to go into the building. So I'm curious if they're not willing to go into the building for her to show her around. I'm wondering how they're going to assist you in getting back here to do what you need to do.
Well, this was 3 years ago.
Okay.
And this was for assessment for us to be able to budget and find out what needs to be worked on.
Okay. Huh? Maybe y'all can go at the same time, Ms. Martin.
So what?
I said,
Oh,
yeah.
gotcha.
Maybe y'all could go in at the same time.
Right.
Okay. So the damages is extensive?
No, it's the building has been sitting there for a while. So it's deteriorating the way any other building would deteriorate. The artifacts and the books, they really need to be preserved because they're old. So the museum, the museum department has identified some resources for preserving the resources that are already in there.
Okay. I want you to know that I am how can I put it? I am ecstatic about this particular proposal. I've been waiting on it a long while, ever since I heard about it.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm very, I'm very excited about this, and I would love to see the outcome of the library actually up and running and serving the people.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And the vision is very impressive. You know what I'm saying? You have a vision to allow the library to not only get assistance from the city, but to stand on its own 2 feet as well, which is going to work out great if we ever need to tighten our belt for a little bit of time. The library can stand on its own.
That's right.
And that's what I love about this particular project, which is a brilliant idea. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about it.
Great.
I do have some questions. We got 4, right?
Yes, we did.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. So my first question is, did I hear you correctly? You said it's gonna take about 10 years?
Yeah, for it to be totally restored, but we envision about 5 years for it to be useful. It could be, 5 years go by fast. But it'll take about 5 years for people to actually walk in to have a grand opening. But we will continue on. There will be some retrofitting, some other items that need to be taken care of as the residents the community is using the library. So we don't have to have the total museum at the bottom level complete for it to be usable.
Okay.
But it's going to take 5 years for that main floor and the auditorium to be usable,
You said 10 years.
to complete. And that's, yeah, that's of course an
So
estimate.
5 years to be restored,
Yes,
but so far you've
to
been
be
working on,
usable. Yes.
so far you've been working on it for 3 years.
We haven't been working physically on the library. We've been working on the concept, on the, and the feasibility study for 3 years.
So 3 years you've been working on the concept. So, my next question is, this is the vision, right?
That is,
Okay, and so.
I think you have an exterior, that's one of the exterior visions.
Right,
Yeah.
so the exterior is on page 6, right?
Serious on six.
So exterior is on page 6, right?
Yeah, let me get to where you are.
And so I noticed one of your questions are, how do you plan to utilize the outside of the library? I'm noticing this is a lot of trees.
Yeah, that,
A lot of trees comes a lot of leaves.
oh, actually, those are bushes, those are green.
Oh,
That's,
that's
yeah,
bushes.
that's from a it's from a rendering. So that's just showing green. And what we would like to see is a small community garden. There's an arboretum, a small arboretum. So that green doesn't necessarily represent trees as much as it represent green area for planting, an arboretum. We also talked about outdoor small nature center.
Nature center.
It's a small nature center that represents species of birds, worms in the community.
So this is, the outside is not necessarily gonna look like.
No,
this, it's
no.
just a concept.
Yeah, no, it's just concept of green, knowing that outside will represent green areas, like I just mentioned, farming, small farming areas, nature center.
We're just talking about a lot of gardening and farming, not too much of concept, okay, so
Mhm.
that's a concept, okay. And then I'm looking at page 4. Can you explain this space to me?
Sure. Let me get back to page 4.
Because I don't see any labels or any ideas of what the proposed mezzanine would be like here. This is page 6.
I can't imagine you having a different document than me, but I don't see the page that you're,
She's on page 4.
yeah, I see the page that you're looking at.
I'm missing 6 and page 8 for mine. Yeah,
Yeah.
it jumps from 5 to 7 and then from 7 to 9.
Pages are two-sided.
Yeah, on both sides. I saw that. I'm still missing 6 and 8. Okay.
Okay, yeah, because I'm,
Mhm.
okay,
And 8. And page 2.
And then on
Okay.
page above that, that's the proposed first floor plan, right? And then the page 3 is getting lower. Am I reading that right? I'm confused.
I'm trying to, yeah, just one second here.
Do you have that document? That's not the one that I.
No, it's
Yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah.
You're not looking at this?
No, is that where? That's not it? So we need to look at this?
Okay, that one, I don't have it all.
So don't look at this, look at this.
yeah, so this is the document we shared.
So we're not looking at this?
This is what they have? Okay.
You don't have one? Here?
No, I don't have that one.
It's in there.
Okay, so maybe it's.
Okay, this is the, unless it's a larger,
Ah, okay, all right, I got it.
okay, you have a larger printout than what I have here. So what you saw as the mezzanine is not to scale on my, but I think, can you explain that better?
Sure.
Okay, and Peggy is from the architectural team. I'm the coordinator, so.
So I'm with, my name is Peggy Matta and I'm with Redstone Architects and I've been working on this project. The layouts that you see were the ones that were used by the DC team when they were talking to the residents and asking what they wanted to see in this. But these were diagrams that we came up with in 2000. So these are an old idea. This was a stab in the dark at the time. These things will be fleshed out
Okay.
based on the community feedback and what it is that you really want to see in your library. So they're not meant to be detailed assessments of what we actually think we're going to have.
So do you know when you will have an actual layout of what it will actually look like?
We want more feedback from the community. And as we go through this meeting, work with the city of Highland Park and the community, we'll work together on this. It's not our concept. It's actually the city and what the city wants.
So how
Madam
do
Pro
you
Tem,
gauge
Ms.
the
Manick, I see you
feedback from
go.
the community?
Through the community inclusion. So we have at events, we show up at events, and that is the study that you're looking at. That is what we heard. Yeah, this is what we heard. So that was our first community inclusion study. And amazing that out of the data that we collected, everyone pretty much said the same thing. They want the library open. They want to see activities in the library. They want to see the dollhouse again. So it was just the same
right.
thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
That's
that's
right.
what we heard, and that's what we conveyed in this document.
Madam Pro Tem, I saw your hand.
Yes, I just wanted to let Ms. Harriet know that there are some surveys that it can be distributed for the people.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Ms. Manick, I saw your hand up as well.
I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Holly and to yourself for still continuing in this long time to continue to work on this project and to bring forth this today. Also, I wanted to ask, well, I guess the answer's already been done. This is the survey going to residents or to people?
Yes, people within the community,
Where
yes.
should they bring it back to?
They can bring it back to, okay. All right, there used to be a QR code. Do you see a QR code on it?
Not on this particular one, but.
Okay,
Not on this one.
okay. Okay,
And I think I just want to be clear myself now, when she was asking about the mezzanine, it's open spaces, right? Open spaces, where did she go? It's open spaces, social spaces, workroom, actually one, but
yeah, so the mezzanine is, again, the retail space, workspace. There also is a small room for presentations. So if there's someone from the community that probably most likely a nonprofit or something that is useful to the community that want to give a small program, a workshop, or training session, there's a breakout room for that as well.
great. Again, thank you both, thank you everybody who's working on this.
Okay, so we have 10 minutes left and we still, thank you so much for what you shared with us
Okay.
so far. We have one more item left that is of utmost importance. Would you do me this favor? Would you be kind enough to join us again for another workshop?
Definitely, we'd
So what we
appreciate
would
that.
like to do for this is when I say this is a hot button issue, it is worthy of its own workshop. As my schedule changes in June, I'll be able to extend these out to an hour and a half.
Okay,
All right.
thank you so much. Thank you for the
All right.
opportunity.
And thank you for these pictures.
You will.
I always wonder what the inside look like.
All right, thank you to the HPUDI team. Thank you to the council so we can bring this before you. Looking forward to working further on it, but like I said, we've been meeting a couple times, and I say before we go any further, I want to get it in front of the council just so because it's been rumblings, even when, years ago it was rumblings, so I just wanted to get it out in front of you now. So yes, it will be back for more workshop sessions.
This one, we've been waiting on this one.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Absolutely waiting on this one. Yes, sir.
That's good. So the next item is the zoning ordinance update. I did add it to the last council agenda, and Councilmember Shafi, you asked for it to be removed and brought to a workshop. So we're here at the workshop. My request is to take the planning commission from 7 to 5, and that's allowable. So the municipal planning commissions, they're controlled by the Michigan Planning Enabling Act. And that act allows for municipalities to have 5, 7, 9, and 11 member commissions. And I'm asking for 5 because our population has decreased. So if we have the 5 members, we're able to get a better quorum, better input, so we can move things forward. And the duty and the job of the planning commission is, the main job is to do the master land use, to do the master land use plan every 5 to 10 years. And additionally, to control that master land use plan by allowing developers to come in, and they would do public hearings, and they'll send it to professionals to get the opinions. And then the recommendation comes to council for approval for site plan approval, so they can start pulling permits and move their developments forward. So we've been having a hard time getting a quorum. So we need to get a quorum because we have activity. We want to make sure we're giving the annual reports to council. We want to make sure the planning commission is strengthened and has all the support that it has. And we feel, the planning commission and the department feels, that if we do bring the number down to 5, we'll have more participation.
That was your only change, just to make it 5.
That's it, from 7 to 5.
And I think it's absolutely appropriate, considering that our census numbers are falling below 8,900. It's not proportionate in any other community in southeastern Michigan for.
That can't really hear.
Yeah, it's not proportionate in any other community in southeastern Michigan, when you have a drop in census numbers, to not readjust the constitution of the bodies of your various boards and commissions to represent what the population actually looks like. So in my opinion, you're absolutely in line with what needs to be done. And I appreciate you bringing this forward, particularly on an issue like the Planning Commission. As a former Planning Commission member, I was on there with Frank Ross, and that was one of the challenges. Major Ross was like, if you're going to be on the Planning Commission, you need to be here. He was a knock on your door on the way to the building type guy. So thank you very much for making those adjustments. Madam Pro Tem.
So instead of replacing or removing the 2 people in the planning commission, just why not remove the people that failed to attend the meetings instead of just taking the 2 away?
So you
So you
said
can have a
instead of
point,
it,
yeah.
so you said appoint more?
Yeah, or different.
Right, that's what I'm saying, appoint more,
Yes.
because we find it a little difficult to get that participation based off our population. So right now, per the ordinance and per the act, all of the positions are up. So we want to make new appointments going in, but we don't want to make new appointments under the current condition. We want to bring it to 5, get good 5 appointments. The mayor appoints, come to the council. These are the 5 that we want to appoint and move it forward. So we want to move it to 5 because we feel like it's better and we get a better quorum.
Does this commission take the oath of office?
Yes.
So it's their sworn duty,
Okay.
right?
Mhm. Yes. So,
We're at 6:57.
He raising his hand.
If you make it quick, Mr. Shafi.
Well, you know what? This is going to come back to us again, right?
It is.
Okay, so I can wait till later.
Okay, so we are
We'll
at,
run out of
Yeah,
time.
that's fine. I
Yeah.
brought it back as you asked to bring it back. Hey, Council President, just real quick. I told Councilwoman that I don't have any more handouts, but I do want to come back, and I'm going to leave something with you that you can look at that I'm coming back with.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we are at 6:58, and I will declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you so much. We'll be starting the